So I wanted to speak on, first of all, it's been a minute. I know. I've been in mommy mode. I'm still in mommy mode right now. I have my daughter 24/7 while running a business. But what I did want to speak on, how it is no secret that we are in a freight. Sarai. See what I'm saying? So I want to give y'all just a life update in general. I've been in mommy mode, so if you hear me screaming from the top of my lungs, I am still in mommy mode. My daughter just turned 1 on November 27th. I've been a mom for a year now. That's crazy. That's supposed to be the rich auntie. Who would have known I'd be the mom? But nevertheless, y'all, I wanted to give y'all an update on what's been going on. So I want to talk about some of the experience I had in the past. It's no secret that, what are they calling? They are calling a great freight recession. Okay? Things have been in shambles in the freight industry since the mid-2022. In all honesty, if you survived, if you are a trucker, a broker, a dispatcher that survived, that you've been in the industry since before 2021, before 2020, and you're still in the industry to this day, you one of the ones. You are one of those ones. And you are not one of those people who hopped in because it was a trend and you quickly realized that this is not that. This is not what you thought. This is not a get rich quick scheme. Because it's not. You're going to have to put time, dedication, and think strategically in order to survive in this industry. Prime example, when these new carriers get in the industry, for prime example, I had a carrier, this is probably like 2-3 years ago. I had a carrier, he had about 5 trucks. So he had 5 trucks. This when I was an independent dispatcher. Of course, no, I don't dispatch anymore. I have dispatchers that work for me, and now I'm my own operator. I have 2 trucks. So, but nevertheless, I was dispatching his 5 trucks, right? Mind you, just having a good old time dispatching his 5 trucks. I'm helping him reach his weekly goals, everything, right? Things is going by fast. Things are going by pretty good. But what I also informed him was, Sarai, please. I'm sorry, y'all. But what I also informed him is, when you first have a authority that's brand new, it's going to be kind of complicated finding good loads. I also explained to him, once the brokers see that you've been in business, you have inspections and things of that nature for at least about 6 months to a year, you'll be able to have better freight. All right, I explained this to him. Being that your authority is new, it's going to be kind of tough getting really good freight, right? But he had some flatbeds and he had drive-in, so it was he was doing kind of well to have a new authority. Plus, me being your dispatcher, I built connections and relationships with certain brokers over the years where we was able to keep him moving consistently. Y'all, so he's still thinking in his mind that you making $12,000 a week or more just with a regular drive-in and just going from the low boards like you used to can make back in a couple years ago. So I'm informing him, your authority is brand new. You're not going to make that type of money right now. I'm being honest and transparent with you, right? So y'all, tell me why. He's like, okay, Ashley, so what I'm going to do is I need to cut some of my expenses. I'm going to try to dispatch myself. And if I see that it's not working, mind you, never dispatched before. And if it doesn't work out, I'm going to come back to you. I'm like, all right, cool. Try your luck. So I'm not tripping. I'm not mad. I'm encouraging it. Go ahead and do that. So y'all, why 2-3 days later when his drivers called me. And he like, yo, Ashley, tell me. He was like, you're not dispatching us no more? I'm like, no, he said he's going to try it on his own, and see how that works out. And he was like, that's crazy because we just had a meeting and it was with another dispatcher. I'm like, what? He like, yeah. And he was like, so apparently he is having another dispatcher to dispatch us from here on out. I'm like, cool. So I hung up with him and I called Sarai. I called the you know, we're going to call him JJ. So I called JJ immediately, and I'm like, hey, JJ, what's going on? You found a new dispatcher? Because let me know so I can plan accordingly moving forward. And just for all future dispatchers out there, always know that sometimes a lot of truckers, they're going to try to find whoever's cheapest, whoever's best, but that don't mean lower your price for anything. So if you charge 10%, continue to charge 10%. If you charge 8%, continue to charge 8%, depending on what all you bring to the table. Whatever price you set, stand on that. You know what I'm saying? So, but it wasn't about the price. It was about what he, in his mind, a person that doesn't study the market, you're freshly new to the industry, and I informed you on what's going on in the market. Also informed you about your authority being brand new and the new rules and regulations that they have due to carriers and fraudulent activities and et cetera, but it went in one ear and not the other. A lot of carriers do that. They get in the industry and it goes in one ear and not the other as far as them being informed on their authority being brand new. They don't want to listen. They just want to know that they just see that, hey, I purchased this truck. It was X amount of dollars. I need to make this weekly. It don't work like that. Okay, especially when you're a new carrier. It doesn't work like that. You're gonna have to grind it up, buddy, for at least 6 months. You gotta take what you can get. Now make sure that your dispatcher can negotiate her butt off or his butt off. But other than that, you're gonna have to get out the mud. And also, it's facts. Do your research before you get into this industry. Do your research before you get into this industry so you know this is not a get quick rich industry at all. But good thing that he did lease those trucks. But long story short, when I talked to him, I was like, hey, you got a new dispatcher? And he was like, oh yeah. I'm like, why didn't you inform me of that? He's like, oh, my apologies. I'm like, okay, cool. So we cut it short from there. He paid my money and haven't spoke to him. So he reached back out to me. Now, mind you, this was a couple years ago. Same person reached back out to me. Asking me, hey, do you have dedicated routes? Do you have this? Do you have that? After you just try to do all that. But you know, I don't play emotions with business. So I still was able to help him out. But that's just a prime example where if you are a carrier looking to get into this industry, you need to do your research before you jump in thinking this is a get quick rich scheme, because it's not. I done dealt with several carriers as an independent dispatcher and informing them like, hey, your authority is brand new. You're going to have to grind it out. Take what you can get in the beginning. Not exactly like take any cheap freight, because no, we're not taking cheap freight around here. But you're going to have to accept, my daughter just in my office, just all over the place. But not saying to accept cheap freight, but you have to come to the realization that do your research. Take a look at articles, take a look at freightways, go to D18 trend lines so you can understand the market. So you can understand what you're getting. Also, brokers, they want to know, have you had inspections? They want to look at their authority and see how well it's aged. They want to look at and see how many violations do you have. These are some of the things they look at before they even book a load with you. So all of those take place. So needless to say, do your research before you get into this industry. Before you thinking somebody ripping you off. Before you thinking that people not really helping you. However you feel, do your research before you get in this industry. That is it. That is all. Also, and even though we are in a freight depression, because right now on those load boards, it's more trucks than it is loads. Do your research. But also, in this industry, I quickly learned it is not what you know, it's who you know in every aspect. So the goal is to get off, build your connections to get off the load boards. And that was my strategy. My strategy when I'm talking about, I was fighting for my life in 2023. Look at my old YouTube videos. I was questioning, should I still be a dispatcher at that time? I was literally fighting for my life. But yeah, my daughter is going crazy. But anyway, we are in a great freight depression at this moment, okay? It is more loads than it is freight. So if you are a driver, you don't have any... If you are a driver, you don't have any endorsements. You don't have any endorsements to separate you from the other drivers. You're going to be fighting for the same loads on them load boards. Okay? And also, I quickly learned it's not about what you know, it's who you know. So what I did was I went out there and built connections. So that's how I'm able to get dedicated freights for drive-ins, flatbeds, sprinter vans, and so forth, box trucks. Because when it got really bad and I was fighting for my life mid-2022, 2023, and 2024, I said, oh no. I started doing knocking door to door, cold calling like crazy. Like, there's a way to win. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's not like you can't get no money in dispatching, because right now, or dispatching or the trucking industry alone, because right now I don't have to work as hard and I'm still making money. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, I'm making money right now as I'm talking to you guys. So it's ways to get money in the trucking industry. So don't feel as though that, oh no, just because it's a recession that you can't make no money in the trucking industry. No, you definitely can. But I really feel like every industry is, you're going to have your downfall and you're going to have your up season. But right now, and for the past 3 years, trucking has been down. And this really drug out longer than what people expected. You know what I'm saying? So as you're in the industry with uncertainty, the best thing for you to do is build those connections. Make sure if you're on the load boards, build better connections with those brokers. Half the time you need to contact, if you're a trucker, when you go pick up a load, build connections with those shippers, build connections with those receivers to see how can you keep moving that freight for that particular lane. Ask them, hey, how many times do you guys have this lane out the week? How many times do you guys have this lane coming out? I have my truck in this area Monday through Friday. Ask them what are their problems with their current shipper. You have to consistently look for multiple people to book, to run this lane. Build connections, guys, with these people at these shippers and at these receivers, so you can have something consistent, because right now we are in a time of uncertainty. And in my self-paced dispatch course, I teach you how to get direct shippers. And I talk about it all the time. I've been talking about this even when I was just solely on the load boards. I've been talking about how to get direct shippers. That is the move right now. And to make sure that the direct shippers that you got with these, and make sure that you can find a dedicated lane that makes sense. Not just any dedicated lane, a dedicated lane that actually makes sense. I'm sorry. Sarai. But yeah, guys, I'm going to cut it kind of short because Sarai is going crazy. So I have to go back in mommy mode. So I definitely reached a point where I'm a mompreneur. I do everything from home. Moving the trucks, managing the dispatchers, connecting with shippers and receivers, connecting with traffic managers. So I can solidify dedicated lanes for owner-operators and entrepreneurs just like yourself. So if you are still interested in getting into the industry, do not be discouraged, because the only thing you have to do now is think more strategically, because the industry is evolving. So it's thinking more strategically and also building those connections. My line is open if you want a consultation. Also, we've been ready.